guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
Yes, hello and welcome. Trevor, shall we look at some movies?
Yeah, I'm in a real movie mood at the moment.
Yeah. And of course, for those just joining us, by looking at movies, we mean we're going to take a random movie generator.
Yep.
Grab a movie each from, the past 70 odd years.
Yep.
And use that title, synopsis, to riff on.
Spookify it. To spookify it because it is Halloween.
That's true. We should be spookifying these. That's correct.
Yeah.
So yes, we will also be spookifying them and turning them into spooky video games.
Yeah. The spookiest.
The spookiest of video games.
Yes.
So yeah, Trevor, 3, 2, 1, movie me.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Ooh. I have Triangle of Sadness.
Never heard of it.
No, me neither. But it does have an intriguing synopsis for what we're doing. So,
okay, cool.
A celebrity model couple are invited on a luxury cruise for the uber rich, helmed by an unhinged alcoholic captain. What first appears Instagrammable ends catastrophically, leaving the survivors stranded on a desert island in a struggle of hierarchy.
So kind of like a rich version of Lord of the Flies.
Yes, basically.
Okay. Cool. And Once Upon a Time in Mexico is all about a corrupt CIA agent, Sands, who hires hitman El Mariachi to assassinate a Mexican general hired by a drug kingpin attempting a coup d'etat of the president of Mexico. So it's the Robert Rodriguez Desperado trilogy.
I think what we should take, from that we should just take the hired killer.
Yeah.
And we've got celebrities on a luxury cruise. There's a hired killer on board.
Yeah.
But someone, maybe the killer or maybe not, is a vampire? Or
well, no, I was thinking we could even just go the sort of horror-y slasher sort of thing of
okay. Yeah.
There's like a serial killer on here as well, and
okay.
So it's sort of like deduction-y sort of thing where you're playing like the hitman as such, trying to work out.
You're playing the hitman, but someone else is killing everyone? Or you're killing everyone? Okay.
Someone else is killing everyone.
Okay, that's a fun, ironic thing that you're there to kill someone and then you're like up against another killer who's obviously more blasé with their killings.
And devious and...
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about that basically you're there to kill someone and then the captain gets killed by this... by the serial killer, and that's what ends up having this luxury ship.
I feel like
grounded.
That we definitely need the last 2 people alive to be you and the person and your target, the person you were originally meant to kill.
Yeah,
and you have to work together, and decide whether or not to kill them at the end. Because by this point, you've gone through a shipwreck. You've been on a deserted island. There's a serial killer running around.
You've defeated the serial killer, but now you've got
by the end, you've defeated the serial killer, and you're like, oh, hey, buddy, by the way, I've been sent here to kill you.
Yeah,
that could be a good ending, but that's jumping.
Our whole thing is let's get off this island first, and then we can discuss.
yeah, basically. Yeah, okay, I like that, and having sort of different, obviously going through the different phases of the story and how that could be presented. I think you do this as like a first person exploring, first you're exploring the ship, maybe having some conversation with people. Then obviously there's a death occurs and you have some of the deduction style stuff happening. Not necessarily obviously to solve who did that at that point, because you're not going to solve that at that point, but maybe you solve what happened. You solve, where was someone at a particular time? You're narrowing down suspects.
They're using these sort of tools, like it is booby trap based and that sort of stuff. So it's
okay. Even if someone's got an alibi, like you don't know when the trap was set, that sort of thing.
And then there's something about, like, you now need to be careful as you're looking around. You need to be looking for tripwires that could potentially drop an axe down into your chest or something like that. And having some of those scenes where that happens, and then you see the masked person come across and look down at your dead body and just sort of close your eyes or something like that. And then it jumps back to, and you go to where the person came from, and they're not there, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's a poetic license kind of thing.
And it's basically that didn't happen in this universe. They weren't there. Like,
it's a game. Games can still have game overs without having to justify them in the.
Yeah. I just don't want to do the Sierra thing of save often, because
no. You go definitely.
You rewind.
You rewind. I like that. And so, you've got a few of those scenes on the boat, one or two people die then perhaps. But pretty soon you run aground. And now you've got scenes on this island, and you're having to set up shelter and stuff, or like explore the island, while also people keep fucking getting killed and you're having to investigate again.
So there was a TV show that, I watched a long time ago, sort of back in the early 2000s. I think, around 2008, 2000 to 2010, called Harper's Island.
Okay.
And it was based on these rather rich people who went to an island to celebrate a wedding.
Yep.
And while they were there, basically the guests and other people in the wedding party were being killed off throughout the whole thing. And at first they didn't notice. They just saw, a person had gone missing and another person had gone missing, even though at the end of each episode, basically there was someone
was going to die,
who basically got killed in the most horrific way. And then the next episode, their body wouldn't be found, sort of thing. And as you went through, this episodic sort of thing, having, the different methods of dying and whether there were two killers and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The way they named every single episode was basically after the onomatopoeia of how the person died.
Right. That's fun.
So real fun way of actually naming the episodes, and kind of a fun way of naming the deaths.
Well, I kind of like,
could occur in this.
Or I kind of like doing the episodic thing, not in the episode 1, episode 2, but just like each death is either the start or the end of sort of a sequence.
A chapter or...
chapter sort of thing. Probably the start makes more sense, but or it'd be a bit of both, right? You sort of, you're in the middle of it. You're on the desert island. There's some drama going on. You have to solve some stuff. Who stole the food or whatever. Like, you can have non-murder related deduction stuff that you're having to do potentially. And then it's like, you hear a scream, and it's like, okay, chapter 5.
Yeah.
Simon or whatever. Yeah. Or Ker-Simon. That's the sound Simon makes when he dies.
But yeah, I don't know. There's just something about serial killer horror and that sort of stuff. I really like those, that suspenseful thriller.
Well, and it's hard to do in a game. It's hard to do in a game. And I think you could get the balance of the sort of tension and then the downtime between killings reasonably well in this sort of game. Like, the main gameplay is not action based, but there's
talking
dramatic
to people
tension. There's dramatic tension that happens, obviously, as and you could do it somewhat cinematic and sort of have cutscene bits and stuff.
I mean, you could literally start with you're on the island, and your first thing is all about like get food and all this sort of stuff.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say. Like, does it make sense to actually do survival mechanics? Like, that is not something that's been combined particularly before, the sort of more slow-paced deduction with survival mechanics. But actually going through, having some of the gathering food, gathering sticks, building a hut, like those sorts of things that are in stuff like, fucking longer. What's the there's the
like
mountain
Rust
one and the
and
Rust. Yeah, like those sorts of games.
The Forest and Son of the Forest and those sort of ones. Yeah,
those sorts of things. But
having a little bit more adventure gamey with the.
But that's it. Then you've got the NPCs. And maybe you're having to help build huts for them too, or they've got some AI and they'll go off and gather stuff. Some of them might sit around because they're fucking celebrities or whatever who are expecting you to wait on them hand and foot, and that creates. Then there's some of the dramatic stuff that comes in. But you literally could just not get food and die of hunger.
But the idea of it being sort of like an unreliable narrator that. Like, you don't know all this stuff at the start, and then you like, you see the first chapter, someone dies, and then it sort of goes back to this is what happened on the ship, and then you go forward, and then like you're going forward, and the second last thing that you sort of learn is, oh, the reason why you were on this is like
right.
You are actually like you may have actually become real good friends with this one character.
Yeah, okay, that's
and then
fun.
You find out just before the end they're your target, and it's
do that. Then
that's the reason why your character has been so nice to this person and had all these.
I feel like that's an interesting take. I feel like it's not often that a game hides information from the player that the player character knows.
Yes.
But, yeah, written well, and that's always a caveat in these games that we make, that could work really well. And then it could like,
very well.
If you replay, you could replay the game with that in mind, and it can put a whole lot of things in a different light.
It's like, oh, this is the reason why they're saying to this person that they should, they're being protective of them and all this sort of stuff because they want to be the one to turn the contract in, and
they're not going to get paid
safe
if they can't deliver the body or something, right? It's like, well, okay, I have to get them through this now and get them rescued so that I can kill them on the way back and deliver their body or something, or even just
their phone was destroyed on the what's called, and they need proof of death, so they can't take a photo of it. So therefore, the only way to get proof of death is to do this killing outside of.
Well, that's it. And you can't, when you're on there with all these other people and no way of getting off, you can't just like kill the guy, take his hand or finger or whatever and be carrying it around like someone's going to be suspicious and they're going to do something.
Like, that is so like the fact that the character could be so heartless at the end of they get off and you can sort of have it on the two of them. The other person knows now, and they're, and
they're like the back of a police boat or like a Coast Guard boat or something as they've just been rescued. They're the only two survivors.
And you just leave it as that. Like you don't know what's actually going to happen. He's got a phone now, or he's got access to stuff. And it starts zooming in.
Well, and you do the
cut to black.
You do the Inception thing. You do the Inception thing.
It's wobbling.
Yeah, like the frame before it cuts to black, you have like your player character's hand twitch or something. It's like they could be going for their gun, they could be, or maybe they just got an itch. Like, you don't know. We'll never tell. I like that a lot. I like you could have then scenes where like you come across your case from the ship. It washes ashore. It's got like a silenced fucking pistol in it. It's got, you as the player don't know that that's yours at this point. And your character is not going to tell everyone, like if maybe someone else was there when it was found. No, I've seen that before. Oh my God. Someone on the ship had this. Like, what the hell? And then again, it's that thing of, watching it back and realizing it's you, knowing it's you. That's going to go in a whole different light.
You basically saying, oh, this needs to go into, this tend to be guarded by people at all times, sort of thing. Because you want to try and take command and actually say, this shouldn't be handed to any one person because we've got such and such happening, but it's also you don't want.
You need to know where it is, and you don't want it being.
You need to know where it is, and
yeah.
So just the ulterior motives of
that's it. Yeah, really playing with that subtext and hidden motives. Like you said, is that, I don't know if that's quite an unreliable narrator or just anyway, it's a dramatic irony of some kind. And yeah, obviously, you can have the deduction stuff in there. The one thing we haven't spoken about is like, who is the serial killer and why are they doing this? Is that just sort of, they're just crazy and they,
So I like the idea of, say, a lot of this sort of stuff that's happening is about a CEO and his two kids and like other people sort of contained
his
within
entourage sort of thing, or like
his entourage and other people from the company.
Yeah.
You're a new hire to the company, blah, 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 and you've been invited on this thing. Your target is the daughter.
Okay.
Because I like the idea of it can be considered flirting, but really,
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, the dramatic irony of your relationship with them. Then, you want the player essentially to think, "Oh, our player's in love with them." By the end,
the son is a red herring.
Okay, you think, mate, like okay,
that you think might be a bit of a psycho.
Yep,
but
he's actually just a like manosphere loving wimp. He tells a big game.
The real serial killer is actually like
like a second or third in command or something who's
second or third in, well, someone who works for the company, but is actually like the illegitimate son of the CEO.
Oh, okay. You do it. Yeah.
You still do. It is a son. It's just not the one that you were thinking of. Like,
okay. And they're all right. And they're like, they've been promised to be brought into the family or something, but they just keeps getting put off over and over again.
Yep.
And finally they've snapped and it's like, fuck this. I'm going to kill everyone in the company, basically.
And it adds so much to it. Like, what was the reason behind killing the captain? I think the captain walked in on them planning something else, and it was
it was
just something that
opportunity essentially, or of desperation.
Desperation necessary, in order to not be caught and not have the whole thing unravel. And it just caused,
chain reaction
reaction of this whole thing going down. Them having to try and, try to go through, and keep everyone unaware that they're the ones actually doing it, but while also having seething hatred for these people who are doing them wrong. The CEO is definitely one of the first ones to die, like on the when you get to the island. Like I think that's how the first chapter ends, is the CEO, being killed by a booby trap in front of everyone at a dinner or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this. So from the deduction point of view, like I like having the deduction stuff in there, but I think actually it might make sense to be a bit more like a game I just started a couple of days ago called Beyond Horizons, I think. Anyway, made by the same team who did Lacuna, which is another sort of adventure-y sort of game. But in that, you've got cases that you're solving. And at any point, you've got cases where you're like, okay, select from one of the like 25 options of, who did this thing. But getting it, you don't have to get it right to proceed. It's essentially a branch in the dialogue of whether you got it right or not. And I think that in a game like this, that works quite well in that then it's more, okay, there is a loop of investigating, talking to people, trying to figure out the case. But it's not like something like Golden Idol or whatever, where it's, oh no, until you get this right, you can't
only move
proceed.
Forward until you get it right. Yep.
It's just part of the story then, and it's branching it a bit, and the story's going to continue on regardless of whether you got it right. But then that's still it's still the reason it's still the impetus for going around and
you can include, the idea of such and such wants you to find their missing suitcase. So that is just one.
That's it. You can
deduction.
have multiple things going on at the same time then, yeah.
Lots of little side quests that you're doing, but you don't know until like these side quests could become like part of the main quest because of determined things of, if you find it, like if you
that's
find
it. I think
this,
it's still quite a linear story, really.
Yeah.
with some
linear
branching.
story with some branching.
But yes, because we've got some of
side questy stuff as well.
Because we've got some of the survival stuff in there and the crafting stuff in there, you can still have like you can put your tent wherever and stuff will happen at your tent or at someone else's tent. You just obviously you have to write it in a way then that it makes sense that even if you fuck around with the game and put your tent all the way around the other side of the beach or whatever, so far away from everyone else, whatever, like you've written it in a way that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And the good thing about serial killers in these sort of movies is they have teleportation.
Yeah,
they can literally teleport. Like
no. Yeah, I'm not worried.
It doesn't need to make sense.
No.
It's like, oh shit, we're in movie logic right now.
Yeah, the only way it needs to make sense is if you have like fixed alibis for people. It's like, oh well, this person was over there, so they can't be over there, even if they are the teleporting killer in movie logic. But yeah. I like that a lot.
I think you would need to have quite a few people, but I think
you would. Look, this is not a small game to make this work well, particularly with the mishmash of survival and deduction and like storytelling that we've just put in place. But again, as usual, we're not here to make games that are easy to make. We're here to talk about games that we want to play or that seem cool.
And we're not here to fuck spiders either. As
the old Australian saying
adage.
goes. Yeah.
Okay, so my next movie, 3-to-1 movie, is The Commuter.
Okay.
A businessman on his daily commute home gets unwittingly caught up in a criminal conspiracy that threatens not only his life but the lives of those around him. It appears to have Liam Neeson on a train.
Yep. Okay.
So I think you can go some real fun stuff
I like,
on a train.
There's some good stuff there. Definitely.
With some sort of horror-y thing that happens on a train on his way home. So it's
well, and
cool.
I think you've got and I'll mention my game in a sec, but I think from particularly commuting implies obviously the repetition of it, the daily thing of that gives an interesting game loop then of the whole game may be set during that commute on the train. Like that's the whole game, but it's day after day after day. My movie is Regression.
Okay.
Minnesota 1990 detective Bruce Kenner investigates the case of young Angela who accuses her father John Gray of an unspeakable crime. When John unexpectedly and without recollection admits guilt, renowned psychologist Dr. Raines is brought in to help him relive his memories, and what they discover unmasks a horrifying nationwide mystery. I don't know that there's a ton there.
No.
Really. But you could do something around amnesia-ish sort of stuff, doing things without realizing. Perhaps that's where some of the horror stuff comes in. Maybe people are being possessed in some way, or there's some sort of spirit, or there's some sort of,
So instead of the movie being called Regression, it's now called Possession.
Yeah, exactly. I think what could also be interesting
part of it.
What could also be interesting from a pacing point of view is we have the morning commute and you have the evening commute.
Oh, you do too.
So that kind of gives you that interesting pacing of like, okay, maybe the horror shit is at least initially just happening in the evening when it's dark out now. It's like, oh shit, everyone's coming home. It's like 6:30 p.m. in the winter or whatever. Creepy shit's happening on the train. And then the next morning, everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, did that really happen? Like, now we're in the light of day. But, by the end of it, it's potentially seeping over into the morning as well. It's becoming worse. It's like, there's something going on this fucking train.
So I suppose the question is, who are you playing in this? Are you like, I do like the idea of the entire game takes place on this train.
Yeah, I think so.
In this one carriage.
Basically.
And so I'm just wondering if you start getting the feel of like, your character is on from the first stop to the last stop.
Yeah. I think
so I think this is getting like in, on and off.
I think this is some sort of like potentially even high speed rail right? It's fictional country and city, and yeah, it brings people in from that, you know, the country they're commuting into the city.
Yeah.
Potentially if it's set at like in the near future sort of thing to just give it a bit more like, oh, we've got this, you know, reliable high speed technology. I mean, not that we don't have that in certain countries, but, and then, yeah, you can have, there's a few stops where people are getting on and off at different times, but I don't think you'd want too many. You don't want it to be stopping and starting all the time. I think it's like, okay, you know, it goes for however long. It's like, oh, here's the next stop. Bunch of people get on. And yeah, you've got the people who you recognize and you know when they get on, and it then also gives you an interesting pacing of like at the beginning of each day, it's like maybe you and one other person you know, and you have a little, you know, you've got a little back and forth there, and then, oh, next stop, all right, 3 more people get on, you know, and now it's sort of a group thing, and you know, the different dynamics happening each day. Perhaps some, you know, a couple of those people go off on their own conversation, but you can go over and talk to them and see different things happening. And then obviously then in the reverse on the way home, I think that creates an interesting symmetry that you can play with, in the pacing as well. Yeah.
I love the idea of it being possession based, because then one of the people that gets on it of a night time, like, just is not themselves, and they are saying some weird shit, like, and it's kind of creepy. There's a point where, like, you know, the lights sort of go off in the train, and all you see are like these red glowing eyes, and then
that's fun.
And then it comes back. The lights are on again, and everything's fine.
Well, and I love that you set up that the lights go off at a certain place, like there's a tunnel or something, right, or whatever.
Yeah,
you've had at least one night, or if not 2, where nothing's happened, particularly, and then on the third night you go through this tunnel and fucking someone's eyes are glowing. Maybe even before any shit's gone down. Or at least certainly before you've identified who might be, you know, having something happen at this point.
Yeah, and I suppose you can have this as like this is all about, you know, getting to know your fellow people and just trying to keep the boredom away while you're going into the city. And
I think it's a community sort of thing. There was a similar adventure game that came out recently. I think it was called maybe like Train Stories or something. It was not horror. It was not even particularly, it was basically a point and click sort of thing, but you played as different people. It was again, a fictional city, and it would go back and forth, you know, one direction, and you'd play as the different people coming on, and they'd sort of interact with each other, based on, you know, one person left something on there in the morning and that other person sees it, whatever. So yeah, I think you have a similar thing where it's really about the people on the train. You get to know them, and then fucking horrific shit starts happening.
I really like the idea that, you know, in between like getting on, there's like a little bit of a narration sort of thing saying why are we in this game, and it's like I want to tell you a story of what happened on such and such train thing. Little background for you. This is my morning commute. And then, you know, every morning I get on at this station and I talk to Fred, blah, blah, blah. And you can sort of do that. And as new people get on, you add a little bit more through the narration and that sort of stuff.
Almost Hitchcockian.
And then you get to the end, and it's
like Twilight Zone.
Yeah, you get towards the end of the train journey, and you exit the train. And it goes, nothing interesting happens. I work throughout the day. Of an evening, I catch the 5:15, blah blah blah, and you be specific and put those details in.
For sure.
And then, you know, it's all about the journey home, and it's like, it gives you a feel of, okay, this is going to be the loop. The loop is going to be, we go into work, we go back out, we're talking to people.
And of course, like some days it'll be like, oh shit, like Fred's not here on the way home today. You know, he didn't get this train. He must have been working late or whatever. And then you see him the next morning and you get to like bring that up. Like you've got you've got that follow through kind of thing going on.
Yeah. And I think what that kind of does is gives you that sort of feel of this is the community. These are the sort of things that you're talking about. This guy cares about these other people. He's asking about their grandson and other things, and you learn a little bit.
I do kind of like the Twilight Zone thing, and to make it more that rather than almost a noir feel. I think it's almost a bit more of, let me tell you the story of, Frank Johnston. He lived at number whatever out in the country, but since the high speed rail was built, he was able to get a better job in the city. And this is his morning commute, and it's very much that like detached narration of I'm telling you a creepy story, like the Twilight Zone sort of thing.
That is actually really, really cool. And then you can have the narrator come in at any time.
Yeah.
And be saying, this conversation is not important to our story right now.
Yeah, you could.
What is important is what happens right now. And then.
And it cuts back in and the train grinds to a halt or something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. We could actually play with the narrator, which we know from Stanley Parable that's really fun to have the an omnipotent omniscient.
Yeah.
A prescient narrator. So they're present throughout the story.
Yes.
It's definitely fun.
I like that.
We've had some
those
really
are
cool,
great. We needed two
creepy
games,
but
I like when we dive deep into some, you really get into some ideas.
Yeah. Really cool.
I think that's the end of our episode. If you'd like to find our previous episodes online, you can go to, bitstormcast.com. You can still go to podchaser.com/bitstorm, but, that's not sort of as...
You don't work there anymore.
I don't work there anymore, and it's not as community focused anymore. So, bitstormcast.com or, wherever else you get podcasts. Check it out. We've got a ton of episodes online.
And if you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Ker-Dust. You can find that album and lots of other stuff at kuradust.bandcamp.com. It's all for free. Just go check it out. We'd like it if you did, because we used to be part of that band. Mm-hmm. And we really like the stuff that we've released.
For sure. So, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And it's the creepy season.
It's spoopy.